Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm Mekong from Hanoi, and now the headlines as usual.
Steering Committee for Vietnam-China Bilateral Cooperation meets in Hanoi. Mekong Delta loses $215 million due to drought and saltwater intrusion. Vietnam welcomes over 4.7 million foreign visitors in first 6 months of 2016.
Party General Secretary Nguyen Xuan Phuc hosted reception on June 27th for Chinese State Councilor Jiechi, who is in Hanoi to co-chair the 9th meeting of the Steering Committee for Vietnam-China Bilateral Cooperation.
At the meeting, the party chief spoke highly of the outcomes of the meeting, asking for closer coordination to effectively realize the common perceptions of Vietnamese and Chinese party and state leaders. The Vietnamese party and state always place importance to maintaining the neighboring friendship and cooperation relations with China, he stressed, suggesting both sides enhance political trust, strengthen practical cooperation in all areas, and boost people-to-people exchange. General Secretary Trong also urged the two countries to settle disputes in the East Sea in line with international law, not complicating the situation and maintaining good ties between Vietnam and China. For his part, the Chinese State Councilor said he wished for more exchanges of high-level delegations and experience and further cooperation in economy, national security, diplomacy, and people-to-people exchange. He voiced his determination to, along with the Vietnamese side, effectively implement the reached agreements between leaders of the two nations. Earlier, Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh and Chinese State Councilor Yang Jiechi co-chaired the 9th meeting of the Steering Committee for Vietnam-China Bilateral Cooperation. At the meeting, the two sides agreed to enhance political trust, maintain high-level visits, and strive for new progress in their result-oriented cooperation. They said both Vietnam and China need to work harder to develop their friendship and comprehensive cooperation in a healthy and stable fashion, as it is in accordance with the two people's wish and fundamental interests and benefits peace, stability, and development in the region. They stressed the need to seriously realize agreements and common perceptions between their party and state leaders, including the agreement on basic principles guiding the settlement of sea-related issues. Both Vietnam and China must well control disagreements, maximize negotiation mechanisms to attain substantive progress, strive to carry out agreed joint projects at sea, and discuss the establishment of a cooperation mechanism for search and rescue at sea. The two sides also muled over other important matters, such as refraining from acts that can complicate the situation or expanding disputes, fully and effectively implement the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, working towards the early formulation of a code of conduct in the waters, and resolving disputes by peaceful measures in conformity with international law.
State President Chen Đại-quang has suggested the Central Coastal Province of Phú Yên expand industry and construction as determined in its economic restructuring plan developed for this year.
During a working session with local officials on June 27th, President Quang advised the province to turn tourism into a spearhead sector through broader connectivity with other regional localities. The province was requested to give more support to small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as handicraft production facilities and trade villages, and speed up the construction of transport infrastructure. He noted that Phú Yên should exert more efforts to make Nam Phú Yên Economic Zone one of the major industrial centers and seaports in the South Central and Central Highlands regions. The President encouraged the application of scientific and technological advances into increasing the quality of agroforestry and fishery products, and the development of value chains, initially in the fishing of tuna. Phú Yên should also strengthen communication work on the protection of national sovereignty over sea and islands, associating it with the implementation of projects to upgrade offshore fishing boats and fishery logistics ships. The same day, the president visited a fishing village in Hua Hiep Town, Dong Hoa District, where he learned about the fishing and trading situation of local people.
Also on June 27th, Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc attended and delivered an opening speech at the second Mekong Delta Forum in Ho Chi Minh City.
Prime Minister Phuc asked Mekong Delta localities to be aware of the region's weaknesses, carry out appropriate measures to address difficulties, and pursue sustainable agricultural restructuring to ensure local stable livelihoods. He pointed out several shortcomings, including the lack of effective connectivity among regional localities and an appropriate industrial development strategy, as well as the lack of creativeness in seafood processing, although the region accounts for nearly 70% of the country's seafood export turnover. The Prime Minister noted that the Mekong Delta region plays a vital role in Vietnam's development and the region's food security, as it is considered Vietnam's largest rice granary, accounting for 90% of the nation's exported rice volume and 1/5 of the global rice consumption. Therefore, he requested financial institutions and foreign development partners to work with the Vietnamese government and Mekong Delta localities to help the region overcome challenges caused by climate change, drought, and disasters. World Bank Regional Vice President for East Asia and the Pacific, Victoria Kwakwa, agreed that challenges facing the region, including drought and saline intrusion, need the involvement of numerous partners and international organizations, along with Vietnamese ministries and localities. Therefore, the forum was a good chance for international development partners and Vietnamese offices to seek measures to help the region gain sustainable growth.
A Vietnamese party delegation attended the 22nd Sao Paulo Forum during their working visit to El Salvador from June 23rd to 26. The delegation was led by head of the party's Central Committee's Commission for External Relations, Hoàng Bình Quân.
The forum discussed the people's role and power in protecting revolutionary achievements and topics regarding culture, youth, sports, the environment, and gender equality. At the event, Nguyen shared the people-oriented experience and lessons by the Communist Party of Vietnam of the past 86 years. During the visit, Nguyen had a meeting with President of El Salvador Sanchez Karen and held talks with Secretary General of the National Liberation Front Party, Medardo Gonzalez. He affirmed Vietnam's consistent stance of ceaselessly strengthening friendship, solidarity, and cooperation between the two parties and peoples. The House leaders expressed wish to further all-around bilateral cooperation and pledged to work closely with Vietnam at multilateral forums. On the sidelines of the forum, Nguyen shared a talk featuring the outcomes of the 12th National Party Congress of Vietnam and the socio-economic achievements Vietnam has gained during the 30 years of conducting renovation.
Chairwoman of the Lao National Assembly, Pani Yathotu, called for closer cooperation between Laos and Vietnam in ethnic and religious affairs while receiving a delegation from the Vietnamese National Assembly's Council for Ethnic Affairs led by its head Ha Ngoc Chien.
The Lao leader said ethnic and religious affairs are of importance to both countries, and the smooth implementation of relevant policies will be the important basis for national harmony and unity, and the foundation for the development of each country. Chien said in the coming time, the two sides will increase the exchange of experience in ethnic affairs, helping to address social security issues, boost socio-economic development, while protecting the environment and public order, especially in mountainous and border areas. Earlier the same day, Chien held talks with his Lao counterpart, Buaphan Likaya. The two sides assessed the implementation of their bilateral cooperation agreement in the 2014 to 2016 period, which covered issues such as law building, monitoring the enforcement of policies and laws on ethnic affairs.
Vietnam's total exports of shellfish reached $616 million in the first 6 months of this year. The statistics were released by the Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers.
The association forecasts that the shellfish exports turnover this year would be $1.5 billion, a decrease of 5% compared to last year. The decrease would be attributed to the enforcement of trade and technical barriers in many import markets, as well as low consumption demands there. Vietnam is now shipping shellfish to 150 countries and territories worldwide, of which the EU and the US markets account for about half of the total exports. In 2015, shellfish earned an export value of $1.6 billion, which was 10% lower than the value recorded in 2014.
The Mekong Delta suffered losses worth more than $215 million due to the severe and prolonged drought and saltwater intrusion last dry season.
The Southwest Region Steering Committee has reported that more than 221,000 hectares of rice, 6,500 hectares of vegetables, and 26,500 hectares of fruits and industrial trees were affected. Paddy grown on 128,205 hectares was completely destroyed. The drought and saltwater intrusion also caused a freshwater shortage for 225,000 households in the coastal provinces like Bac Giang, Sao Paulo and Giang. Rains have now begun in the Delta, and farmers are growing new vegetable crops and the autumn-winter rice crop and farming shrimp. Farmers are set to grow only 860,000 hectares of rice in the autumn-winter crop, down from the original plan of sowing 900,300 hectares. The Plant Cultivation Department said this is due to the decline in rice prices and unfavorable export conditions, according to the department.
International arrivals to Vietnam reached more than 4.7 million in the first half of this year, an annual increase of 21.3%.
The figure for June was 700,446, down 7.5% from the previous month, but up 29.8% from 1 year ago. According to the General Statistics Office, the local tourism sector also served approximately 32.4 million domestic travelers in the 6-month period. Total revenue of the period was estimated at $9.1 billion, up 22.1% year-on-year. This year, Vietnam set a target of welcoming 8.5 million foreign and 60 million domestic travelers. Vietnam is considered one of the fastest-growing tourism destinations in Southeast Asia, driven by the entrance of international hoteliers, an improved visa policy, and investment in key infrastructure.
Vietnam's traditional long dress and conical hat dance have appeared as part of the cultural parade, which aimed to establish a connection between different cultures in Frankfurt, Germany.
Those stellar performances made by the Vietnamese Association in Mines and Vietnamese Students Association in Frankfurt nudged a hospitable and peaceful Vietnam closer to the international friends. A large side map affirming Vietnam's ownership over Trường Sa, Spratly, and Hoàng Sa Paracel archipelagos also accompanied Vietnamese delegation during the parade. The event has been organized by the Frankfurter Youth and Drink, together with its 29 youth associations and other 100 organizations since 2003. Along with helping German people get a deeper understanding of other cultures, the event also creates cultural diversity in the city, making it easier for foreign residents to deeply integrate in various realms in the host nation.
And that's wrap up our news bulletin. Thanks for watching and see you next time.